Hello, fellow witches and wizards. My name is Phoenix Jenny, and welcome to the stream. Welcome to another Harry Potter Saturday. Sorry, my leg was itchy. Okay, so we are getting to the end of it. Getting to the end of Goblet of Fire. Which is pretty exciting, and once again, my chair is not cooperating. There. Okay. Okay, so we are getting to the end of Goblet of Fire, which is really exciting because that means we're getting to the end. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to say next. We are also getting to the end of April, which means we're getting close to the beginning of May, which means it's almost time for my Harry Potter movie marathon that I do every year. I have a Harry Potter movie marathon where I watch all the movies in one day. I get up at 4 in the morning and I watch all of them, and it takes me till about 10:30 to 11 o'clock at night. That's if you don't do anything in between, no bathroom breaks, and skip the credits. It can be done, and this would be the 4th year in a row that I've done it, I'm pretty sure. Super fun. I love doing it. It's in celebration for Battle of Hogwarts Day, which is on May 2nd. Feel free to join me in doing that. I won't be able to do it live, obviously. But if you would like to do it too at the same time as me, that'd be great. It would be super fun. I'm really excited. I need to get my snacks ready. And I'm gonna probably be working on my puzzle that's still on my table and been on my table for months, and it's a Harry Potter puzzle as well. So it'll be fun. I'm really excited about it. Okay, but welcome to the stream. If you could do me a massive favor and like the stream by clicking the like button. You can talk in the chat. Feel free to converse with me as I read, because this is a discussion and not just me reading to you. Or you can write in the comments section down below telling me what you thought of the video. Become a subscriber if you're not subscribed already, and turn on notifications so you could be notified the next time I go live. I'll be going live next week. If you want to know when, follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Also in the description is my Patreon if you'd like to support me as a content creator, or if you would like to read my short stories. If you'd like to support me as a content creator, I do have just a $1 a month tier if you'd like to do that, or you could read my writing for $5 a month. I have short stories and the like on there. And I also have free stuff on there as well, so check that out. For free, I have my Harry Potter fanfiction, which you will be helping me write today on stream. And if you choose to support my channel, however you choose to do it on Patreon, you get a shout out, like my patron, Kim Sickler. Thank you so much for supporting me. And if you would like a shout out as well, become a patron. And I also have a TikTok and an Instagram, link in the description. Okay, so, as always, we will start by reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. We're reading chapter 30 today. And then we will spend some time writing some fan fiction, working on my Harry Potter fan fiction, working on chapter 4 of In Your Shoes. And then we will have an intermission, and then I will play some Hogwarts Legacy, as you can see on my screen. Right there. It's mirrored. So it's not mirrored, so it's inverted to me. So it's right there. I think that actually worked, because the reason why I started doing that, why I started putting that on the screen, is because I think people because I would get a ton of views on these streams, but I would get like almost nothing, almost no watch time, and there'd be like one like. So I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I figured what was happening was people would they would see the video on YouTube. They'd be like, "Oh, somebody's playing Hogwarts Legacy, awesome!" And they'll click on it, and they see me reading, and they'd be like, "What the heck? This isn't Hogwarts Legacy," and they would just click off. They would stop watching because nobody reads the description, so they would know that that was later. That's part of the stream, but not the whole stream, right? And so I thought, well, let me put on the screen saying, hey, now I am reading Goblet of Fire. Next, I'll be writing fanfiction, and then later I'll be playing Hogwarts Legacy. And I think it worked because I think I got more views and more watch time the last time that I did this. So I hope it works. I will get to Hogwarts Legacy. That's just later in the stream. But we're going to start with Goblet of Fire. But first, I will do a bit of a recap of last chapter, 29, The Dream. It wasn't super long. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione, this is right after the whole incident with Mr. Crouch in the forest, are discussing what's going on with Mr. Crouch and what happened to Victor. And they're just coming up with theories as to who attacked Victor and what happened to Mr. Crumb. They go up to the Owlery to send a letter to Sirius, because Harry wanted to know, because Sirius wants to know everything strange that's going on with Harry. They end up running into Fred and George, who are up to something shady and blackmailing somebody. And then what happened after that? They spoke to Moody about using the map and seeing if he could see who had attacked Mr. Crouch. But he didn't see anyone. They got a reply back from Sirius Black, and Sirius Black is very upset with Harry because he was alone with Victor Crumb, and Sirius is like, that was really dangerous and stupid of you, and then Harry's all upset. Alright, then Harry's training for the third task. He's learning some stunning spells and the like. And then they get to divination class. And Harry falls asleep in the middle of divination class. And that's where he has a spooky dream about Voldemort. And about someone who has died. Yes. Voldemort claims that somebody is finally dead. But we don't know who that is yet. Harry goes off to tell Professor Dumbledore about the dream he had, and in the middle of that, Dumbledore and Cornelius Fudge are having a meeting about Mr. Crouch. And that's where we left off. Harry is at Dumbledore's office, and he's about to tell Dumbledore about the dream he had. Let me see how long this chapter is. Ooh, it's a beefy boy. Okay. Well, I guess it's not that bad. We've had longer chapters. It's 23 pages long. I guess that's not too bad. All right. Chapter 30. The Pensieve. The door of the office opened. "Hello, Potter," said Moody. "Come in, then." Harry walked inside. He had been inside Dumbledore's office once before. It was a very beautiful, circular room, lined with pictures of previous headmasters and headmistresses of Hogwarts, all of whom were fast asleep, their chests rising and falling gently. Cornelius Fudge was standing beside Dumbledore's desk, wearing his usual pinstriped cloak and holding his lime green bowler hat. I always forget it's lime green. because it's not that color in the movie, so I never imagined it that way in the book. Harry, said Fudge, jovial, moving forward. How are you? Fine, Harry lied. We were just talking about the night when Mr. Crouch turned up on the grounds, said Fudge. It was you who found him, was it not? Yes, said Harry. Then, feeling it was pointless to pretend that he hadn't overheard what they had been saying, he added, I didn't see Madame Maxime anywhere, though, and she'd have a job hiding, wouldn't she? Good man, Harry. Dumbledore smiled at Harry behind Fudge's back, his eyes twinkling. Yes, well, said Fudge, looking embarrassed. We're about to go for a short walk on the grounds, Harry, if you'll excuse us. Perhaps if you just go back to your class. I wanted to talk to you, Professor, Harry said quickly, looking at Dumbledore, who gave him a swift, searching look. Wait here for me, Harry, he said. Our examination of the grounds will not take long. They trooped out in silence past him and closed the door. After a minute or so, Harry heard the clunks of Moody's wooden leg growing fainter in the corridor below. He looked around. Hello, Fawkes, he said. Fawkes? I cannot... 1 second. What? Hold on. Brain blast. Are you... I don't know how I did not make this connection before. I just realized the significance of Fawkes the Phoenix's name. He's probably named after Guy Fawkes, who was part of the gunpowder plot of 1601. Why did that not... It only just occurred to me because I read the name Fawkes, and I was like, oh, like Guy Fawkes. And I was like, actually, yeah, probably. That's probably where the name comes from. I don't know how I did not think of that till just now. That is really strange. It's not... I don't know why I'm only just now thinking of this. Though, I guess it depends on where you are politically, but... I don't know. Guy Fawkes isn't really celebrated, so I don't know why you would name a majestic bird after Guy Fawkes. As I understand it, Guy Fawkes is actually he's considered a criminal, not a good guy in English tradition. That's why they burn effigies of him, because he was trying to blow up Parliament. But his plan backfired. Anyway. Yeah. That's probably not the name I would use, but I think it's just, you're supposed to make the connection of fire. That's it. Anyway. Fawkes, Professor Dumbledore's Phoenix, was standing on his golden perch beside the door, the size of a swan with magnificent scarlet and gold plumage. He swished his long tail and blinked benignly at Harry. Harry sat down in a chair in front of Dumbledore's desk. For several minutes he sat and watched the old headmasters and headmistresses snoozing in their frames, thinking about what he had just heard and running his fingers over his scar. It had stopped hurting now. He felt much calmer somehow, now that he was in Dumbledore's office, knowing he would shortly be telling him about the dream. Harry looked up at the walls behind the desk. The patched and ragged sorting hat was standing on a shelf. A glass case next to it held a magnificent silver sword with large rubies set into the hilt, which Harry recognized as the one he himself had pulled out of the sorting hat in his second year. The sword had once belonged to Godric Gryffindor, founder of Harry's house. He was gazing at it, remembering how it had come to his aid when he had thought all hope was lost, when he noticed a patch of silvery light dancing and shimmering on the glass case. He looked around for the source of the light, and saw a sliver of silver white shining brightly from within a black cabinet behind him, whose door had not been closed properly. A vanishing cabinet? No, not a vanishing cabinet, just a regular cabinet. Harry hesitated, glanced at Fawkes, then got up, walked across the office, and pulled open the cabinet door. A shallow stone basin lay there, with odd carvings around the edge, runes and symbols that Harry did not recognize. The silvery light was coming from the basin's contents, which were like nothing Harry had ever seen before. He could not tell whether the substance was liquid or gas. It was a bright whitish silver, and it was moving ceaselessly, the surface of it becoming ruffled like water beneath wind, and then, like clouds, separated and swirled smoothly. I think the movies really capture this essence well. How it's liquidy, yet like a gas because it's kind of smoky too. It looked like light made liquid, or like wind made solid. Harry couldn't make up his mind. Of course, it's not like that in Goblet of Fire. I mean more so for the next few movies. For David Yates's movies. He wanted to touch it, to find out what it felt like, but nearly 4 years' experience of the magical world told him that sticking his hand into a bowl full of some unknown substance was a very stupid thing to do. He therefore pulled his wand out of the inside of his robes, cast a nervous look around the office, looked back at the contents of the basin, and prodded them. The surface of the silvery stuff inside the basin began to swirl very fast. Harry bent closer, his head right inside the cabinet. The silvery substance had become transparent. It looked like glass. He looked down into it, expecting to see the stone bottom of the basin, and saw instead an enormous room below the surface of the mysterious substance, a room into which he seemed to be looking through a circular window in the ceiling. Perhaps the basin is bigger on the inside. The room was dimly lit. He thought it might even be underground, for there were no windows, merely torches and brackets, such as the ones that illuminated the walls of Hogwarts. Lowering his face so that his nose was a mere inch away from the glassy substance, Harry saw that rows and rows of witches and wizards were seated around every wall on what seemed to be benches rising in levels. An empty chair stood in the very center of the room. There was something about the chair that gave Harry an ominous feeling. Chains encircled the arms of it, as though its occupants were usually tied to it. That's probably the thing that's giving you the ominous feeling, Harry. The chains. Where was this place? It surely wasn't Hogwarts. He had never seen a room like that here in the castle. Moreover, the crowd in the mysterious room at the bottom of the basin was comprised of adults, and Harry knew there were not nearly that many teachers at Hogwarts. They seemed, he thought, to be waiting for something. Even though he could only see the tops of their hats, all of their faces seemed to be pointing in one direction, and none of them were talking to one another. The basin being circular and the room he was observing square, Harry could not make out what was going on in the corners of it. He leaned even closer, tilting his head, trying to see. The tip of his nose touched the strange substance into which he was staring. Dumbledore's office gave an almighty lurch. Harry was thrown forward and pitched headfirst into the substance inside the basin. But his head did not hit the stone bottom. He was falling through something icy cold and black. It was like being sucked into a dark whirlpool. And suddenly, Harry found himself sitting on a bench at the end of the room inside the basin. A bench raised high above the others. He looked up at the high stone ceiling, expecting to see the circular window through which he had just been staring, but there was nothing there but dark, solid stone. Breathing hard and fast, Harry looked around him. Not one of the witches and wizards in the room, and there were at least 200 of them, was looking at him. Not one of them seemed to have noticed that a 14-year-old boy had just dropped from the ceiling into their midst. Harry turned to the wizard next to him on the bench and uttered a loud cry of surprise that reverberated around the silent room. He was sitting right next to Albus Dumbledore. "Professor," Harry said in a kind of strangled whisper, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just looking at that basin in your cabinet. Where are we?" But Dumbledore didn't move or speak. He ignored Harry completely. Like every other wizard on the benches, he was staring into the far corner of the room where there was a door. Harry gazed, nonplussed, at Dumbledore, then around at the silently watchful crowd, then back at Dumbledore. And then it dawned on him. Once before, Harry had found himself somewhere that nobody could see or hear him. That time he had fallen through a page in an enchanted diary right into somebody else's memory. And unless he was very much mistaken, something of the sort had happened again. Harry raised his right hand, hesitated, and then waved it energetically in front of Dumbledore's face. Dumbledore did not blink, look around at Harry, or indeed move at all, and that, in Harry's opinion, settled the matter. Dumbledore wouldn't ignore him like that. Yes, of course. Dumbledore would always pay you attention, never turn away from you, never not look at you, and never not talk to you. Definitely not in the next one. Yeah. Dumbledore wouldn't ignore him like that, of course. No. Not happy face, sad face. It's very sad. Yet it couldn't be that long ago. The Dumbledore sitting next to him now was silver-haired, just like the present-day Dumbledore. But what was this place? What were all these wizards waiting for? Harry looked around more carefully. The room he had suspected when observing it from above was almost certainly underground. More of a dungeon than a room, he thought. There was a bleak and forbidding air about the place. There were no pictures on the walls, no decorations at all, just these serried rows of benches. Serried. I wonder if that means, like, rising up in layers? Let's look it up. Serried. Our word of the day. It probably has nothing to do with Siri. Rows of people or things standing close together. I guess it just means standing close together. Okay. Let's write it down so that we know for next time. I always encourage writing in your books, unless they're library books. Even though I admit I wrote in library books too. Standing close together. And now we know. Okay. Let me reread that sentence. There was a bleak and forbidding air about the place. There were no pictures on the walls, no decorations at all, just these serried rows of benches, rising in levels all around the room, all positioned so that they had a clear view of that chair with the chains on its arms. Before Harry could reach any conclusions about the place in which they were, he heard footsteps. The door in the corner of the dungeon opened, and 3 people entered. Or at least 1 man, flanked by 2 Dementors. Harry's insides went cold. The Dementors. Tall, hooded creatures whose faces were concealed, while gliding slowly toward the chair in the center of the room, each grasping one of the man's arms, with their dead and rotten-looking hands. The man between them looked as though he was about to faint, and Harry couldn't blame him. He knew the Dementors could not touch him inside a memory, but he remembered their power only too well. The watching crowd recoiled slightly as the Dementors placed the man in the chained chair and glided back out of the room. The door swung shut behind them. Harry looked down at the man now sitting in the chair and saw that it was Karkaroff. Unlike Dumbledore, Karkaroff looked much younger. His hair and goatee were black. He was not dressed in sleek furs, but in thin and ragged robes. He was shaking. Even as Harry watched, the chains on the arms of the chair glowed suddenly gold and snaked their way up Karkaroff's arms, binding him there. "Igor Karkaroff," said a curt voice to Harry's left. Harry looked around and saw Mr. Crouch standing up in the middle of the bench beside him. Crouch's hair was dark. His face was much less lined. He looked fit and alert. "You have been brought from Azkaban to present evidence to the Ministry of Magic. You have given us to understand that you have important information for us." Karkaroff straightened himself as best he could, tightly bound to the chair. "I have, sir," he said, and although his voice was very scared, Harry could still hear the familiar unctuous note in it. And remember, unctuous was a previous word that we looked up, and what does it mean? It means oily, as we looked up. "I wish to be of use to the Ministry. I wish to help. I know that the Ministry is trying to round up the last of the Dark Lord's supporters. I am eager to assist in any way I can." There was a murmur around the benches. Some of the wizards and witches were surveying Karkaroff with interest, others with pronounced mistrust. Then Harry heard, quite distinctly from Dumbledore's other side, a familiar, growling voice saying, "Filth." Harry leaned forward so that he could see past Dumbledore. Mad-Eye Moody was sitting there, except that there was a very noticeable difference in his appearance. He did not have his magical eye, but two normal ones. Both were looking down upon Karkaroff, and both were narrowed in intense dislike. "Crouch is going to let him out," Moody breathed quietly to Dumbledore. "He's done a deal with him. Took me 6 months to track him down, and Crouch is going to just let him go if he's got enough new names. Let's hear his information, I say, and throw him straight back to the Dementors." Dumbledore made a small noise of dissent through his long, crooked nose. "I was forgetting. You don't like the Dementors, do you, Albus?" said Moody with a sardonic smile. Sardonic? What does that word mean? I've probably looked this one up before. Grimly, mocking, or cynical. I like it. Grimly? Grimly? Grimly, not grimly. Anyway. Sardonic right here. And it means cynical. "No," said Dumbledore calmly. "I'm afraid I don't. I have long felt the Ministry is wrong to ally itself with such creatures." "But for filth like this," Moody said softly. "You say you have names for us, Karkaroff," said Mr. Crouch. "Let us hear them, please." "You must understand," said Karkaroff hurriedly, "that he who must not be named operated ways in the greatest secrecy. He preferred that I mean to say, his supporters, and I regret now very deeply that I ever counted myself among them." "Get on with it," sneered Moody. "We never knew the names of every one of our fellows. He alone knew exactly who we all were." "Which was a wise move, wasn't it, as it prevented someone like you, Karkaroff, from turning all of them in," muttered Moody. "Yet you say you have some names for us," said Mr. Crouch. I do, said Karkaroff breathlessly. And these were important supporters, mark you. People I saw with my own eyes doing his bidding. I give this information as a sign that I fully and totally renounce him, and am filled with a remorse so deep I can barely... These names are... said Mr. Crouch sharply. Karkaroff drew a deep breath. There was Antonin Dolohov, he said. I saw him torture countless muggles and non-supporters of the Dark Lord. And helped him do it, murmured Moody. We have already apprehended Dolohov, said Crouch. He was caught shortly after yourself. Indeed, said Karkaroff, his eyes widening. I am delighted to hear it. But he didn't look it. Harry could tell that this news had come as a real blow to him. One of his names was worthless. Any others? Said Crouch coldly. Why, yes, there was Rosier, said Karkaroff hurriedly. Evan Rosier. Rosier is dead, said Crouch. He was caught shortly after you were, too. He preferred to fight rather than come quietly and was killed in the struggle. Took a bit of me with him, though, whispered Moody, to Harry's right. Harry looked around at him once more and saw him indicating the large chunk out of his nose to Dumbledore. No more than Rosier deserved, said Karkaroff, a real note of panic in his voice now. Harry could see that he was starting to worry that none of his information would be of any use to the Ministry. Karkaroff's eyes darted toward the door in the corner, behind which the Dementors undoubtedly still stood, waiting. Any more? Said Crouch. Man, to come all that way and put him in a chair, gather this whole assembly, and not have a name worth mentioning. Shouldn't they have asked him beforehand, before all this? That's what the police do in real life. They don't just, like, if you get, like, I don't know, a snitch from prison, and he has evidence against somebody you're trying to put away, you don't just, oh, you got evidence? Okay. They bail him out of prison and bring him into court. No, they do their evidence. They do their research first. They talk to him. They interview him. They back up his information before they bring him to court. Why are we doing this? Like, you should know already the names he's going to say. Yes, said Karkaroff. There was Travers. He helped murder the McKinnons. Malsiper. He specialized in the Imperious Curse. Forced countless people to do horrible things. Rookwood, who was a spy, had passed he who must not be named useful information from inside the Ministry itself. Harry could tell that this time Karkaroff had struck gold. The watching crowd was all murmuring together. Rookwood. That name should be familiar to us, especially because of Hogwarts Legacy. Because we have some characters with a last name Rookwood. Rookwood, said Mr. Crouch, nodding to a witch sitting in front of him, who began scribbling upon her piece of parchment. Augustus Rookwood of the Department of Mysteries. Department of Mysteries. That's going to be the next one. The very same, said Karkaroff eagerly. I believe he used a network of well-placed wizards, both inside the Ministry and out, to collect information. But Travers and Mulciber we have, said Mr. Crouch. Very well, Karkaroff. If that is all, you will be returned to Azkaban while we decide. Not yet! Cried Karkaroff, looking quite desperate. Wait, I have more! Harry could see him sweating in the torchlight, his white skin contrasting strongly with the black of his hair and beard. Snape! He shouted. Severus Snape! Yes. It's funny because, like, we have this information already if you've read this book before. So, like, it's hard not to see Snape as a ex-Death Eater. But this is the first time Harry hears it. Like, Harry had no idea he used to be a Death Eater. But I feel like that's also one of those things he kind of should have known, you know? Just like how we should have already known that Hagrid is half giant. I feel like there's something else we should have already known, too. I can't think of what it is. I mentioned it earlier in a previous stream. Snape has been cleared by this council, said Crouch disdainfully. He has been vouched for by Albus Dumbledore, which Crouch is very not happy about, as you can see. "No!" shouted Karkaroff, straining at the chains that bound him to the chair. "I assure you, Severus Snape is a Death Eater!" "Let's start the debate!" Yeah. Dumbledore had gotten to his feet. "I have given evidence already on this matter," he said calmly. "Severus Snape was indeed a Death Eater. However, he rejoined our side before Lord Voldemort's downfall, and turned spy for us at great personal risk. He is now no more a Death Eater than I am." When I first read this, I was 100% positive that Snape was still a Death Eater, that Dumbledore was wrong. I didn't trust Dumbledore in this matter at all. I always believed that Snape was a Death Eater. There's still a part of me that believes he's still a Death Eater. And I already know. What happens. Not really. But, I mean, I just remember. I was staunchly on that side. Like, there was two groups. Like, the fans were, like, split in two at the time. Half of us believed that Snape was still a Death Eater, and half of us believed that Snape was actually working for Dumbledore as a double agent. I was staunchly on the side that Snape was still a Death Eater. I believed it with my whole heart. And mostly because I always trust Harry. I know that Harry is wrong way more often than Dumbledore is, by a lot. But when you love somebody, you believe them, or you want to believe them. I wanted to side with Harry, even though he was wrong, So I always hated Snape and how he treated Harry, so that is also why I was staunchly on that side. I didn't want Snape to be a good guy. There's no way he could act the way that he did and be a good guy. Which is interesting, because now, as an adult, I see that people are actually a lot more complex than that. And it's very possible to act like that and still be a good guy. Which makes it all the more interesting and exciting and fascinating. Really good for storytelling. But anyway, Harry turned to look at Mad-Eye Moody. He was wearing a look of deep skepticism behind Dumbledore's back. "Very well, Karkaroff," Crouch said coldly. "You have been of assistance. I shall review your case. You will return to Azkaban in the meantime." Mr. Crouch's voice faded. Harry looked around. The dungeon was dissolving as though it were made of smoke. Everything was fading. He could see only his own body. All else was swirling darkness. And then the dungeon returned. Harry was sitting in a different seat, still on the highest bench, but now to the left side of Mr. Crouch. The atmosphere seemed quite different, relaxed, even cheerful. The witches and wizards all around the walls were talking to one another, almost as though they were at some sort of sporting event. Oh, I remember this. Harry noticed a witch halfway up the rows of benches opposite. She had short blonde hair, was wearing magenta robes, and was sucking the end of an acid green quill. It was, unmistakably, a younger Rita Skeeter. Harry looked around. Dumbledore was sitting beside him again, wearing different robes. Mr. Crouch looked more tired and somehow fiercer, gaunter. Harry understood. It was a different memory, a different day, a different trial. The door in the corner opened, and Ludo Bagman walked into the room. This was not, however, a Ludo Bagman gone to seed, but a Ludo Bagman who was clearly at the height of his Quidditch-playing fitness. His nose wasn't broken now. He was tall and lean and muscular. Bagman looked nervous as he sat down in the chained chair. But it did not bind him there as it had bound Karkaroff, and Bagman, perhaps taking heart from this, glanced around at the watching crowd, waved at a couple of them, and managed a small smile. Ludo Bagman, you have been brought here in front of the Council of Magical Law to answer charges related to the activities of the Death Eaters, said Mr. Crouch. We have heard the evidence against you, and are about to reach our verdict. Do you have anything to add to your testimony before we pronounce judgment? Harry couldn't believe his ears. Ludo Bagman? A Death Eater? Only, said Bagman, smiling awkwardly, well, I know I've been a bit of an idiot. One or two wizards and witches in the surrounding seats smiled indulgently. Mr. Crouch did not appear to share their feelings. He was staring down at Ludo Bagman with an expression of the utmost severity and dislike. "You never spoke a truer word, boy," someone muttered dryly to Dumbledore behind Harry. He looked around and saw Moody sitting there again. "If I didn't know he'd always been dim, I'd have said some of those bludgers and had permanently affected his brain." "Ludovic Bagman, you were caught passing information to Lord Voldemort's supporters," said Mr. Crouch. "For this, I suggest a term of imprisonment in Azkaban lasting no less than—" But there was an angry outcry from the surrounding benches. Several of the witches and wizards around the walls stood up, shaking their heads and even their fists at Mr. Crouch. "But I've told you I had no idea," Bagman called earnestly over the crowd's babble, his round blue eyes widening. "None at all. Old Rookwood was a friend of my dad's. Never crossed my mind he was in with you-know-who. I thought I was collecting information for our side. And Rookwood kept talking about getting me a job in the ministry later on. Once my Quidditch days are over, you know. I mean, I can't keep getting hit by bludgers for the rest of my life, can I?" There were titters from the crowd. "It will be put to the vote," said Mr. Crouch coldly. He turned to the right-hand side of the dungeon. "The jury will please raise their hands. Those in favor of imprisonment?" Harry looked toward the right-hand side of the dungeon. Not one person raised their hand. Many of the witches and wizards around the walls began to clap. One of the witches on the jury stood up. "Yes," barked Crouch. "We'd just like to congratulate Mr. Bagman on a splendid performance for England in the Quidditch match against Turkey last Saturday," the witch said breathlessly. "This doesn't reflect real life at all." "Unfortunately." Mr. Crouch looked furious. The dungeon was ringing with applause now. Bagman got to his feet and bowed, beaming. "Despicable." Mr. Crouch spat at Dumbledore, sitting down as Bagman walked out of the dungeon. "Rookwood, get him a job indeed. The day Ludo Bagman joins us will be a sad day indeed for the ministry." And the dungeon dissolved again. When it had returned, Harry looked around. He and Dumbledore were still sitting beside Mr. Crouch, but the atmosphere could not have been more different. There was total silence, broken only by the dry sobs of a frail, wispy-looking witch in the seat next to Mr. Crouch. She was clutching a handkerchief to her mouth with trembling hands. Harry looked up at Crouch and saw that he looked gaunter and grayer than ever before. A nerve was twitching in his temple. "Bring them in," he said, and his voice echoed through the silent dungeon. The door in the corner opened yet again. 6 Dementors entered this time, flanking a group of 4 people. Harry saw the people in the crowd turn to look up at Mr. Crouch. A few of them whispered to one another. The Dementors placed each of the 4 people in the 4 chairs with chained arms that now stood on the dungeon floor. There was a thick-set man who stared blankly up at Crouch, a thinner and more nervous-looking man whose eyes were darting around the crowd, a woman with thick, shining dark hair and heavily hooded eyes, who was sitting in the chained chair as though it were a throne, and a boy in his late teens who looked nothing short of petrified. We now get to meet for the very first time Bellatrix Lestrange. It's quite exciting. He was shivering, his straw-colored hair all over his face. His freckled skin milk white. The wispy little witch beside Crouch began to rock backward and forward in her seat, whimpering into her handkerchief. Crouch stood up. He looked down upon the 4 in front of him, and there was pure hatred in his face. "You have been brought here before the Council of Magical Law," he said clearly, "so that we may pass judgment on you for a crime so heinous—" "Father," said the boy with the straw-colored hair, "Father, please." "That we have rarely heard the like of it within this court," said Crouch, speaking more loudly, drowning out his son's voice. "We have heard the evidence against you. The 4 of you stand accused of capturing Honora, Frank Longbottom, and subjecting him to the Cruciatus Curse, believing him to have knowledge of the present whereabouts of your exiled master, he who must not be named." "Father, I didn't!" shrieked the boy in the chains below. "I didn't, I swear it! Father, don't send me back to the Dementors!" You are further accused, bellowed Mr. Crouch, of using the Cruciate curse on Frank Longbottom's wife when he would not give you information. You plan to restore he who must not be named to power, and to resume the lives of violence you presumably led while he was strong. I now ask the jury—" "Mother!" screamed the boy below, and the wispy little witch beside Crouch began to sob, rocking backward and forward. "Mother, stop him! Mother, I didn't do it! It wasn't me!" "I now ask the jury," shouted Mr. Crouch, "to raise their hands if they believe, as I do, that these crimes deserve a life sentence in Azkaban." In unison, the witches and wizards along the right-hand side of the dungeon raised their hands. The crowd around the walls began to clap as it had for Bagman, their faces full of savage triumph. The boy began to scream. "No, Mother, no! I didn't do it! I didn't do it! I didn't know! Don't send me there! Don't let him!" The Dementors were gliding back into the room. The boy's three companions rose quietly from their seats. The woman with the heavily lidded eyes looked up at Crouch and called, "The Dark Lord will rise again, Crouch. Throw us into Azkaban. We will wait. He will rise again, and will come for us. He will reward us beyond any of his other supporters. We alone were faithful. We alone tried to find him." But the boys trying to fight off the Dementors, even though Harry could see their cold, draining power starting to affect him. The crowd was jeering, some of them on their feet, as the woman swept out of the dungeon and the boy continued to struggle. "I'm your son!" he screamed up at Crouch. "I'm your son!" "You are no son of mine," bellowed Mr. Crouch, his eyes bulging suddenly. "I have no son." The wispy witch beside him gave a great gasp and slumped in her seat. She had fainted. Crouch appeared not to have noticed. "Take them away!" Crouch roared at the Dementors, spit flying from his mouth. "Take them away, and may they rot there!" "Father! Father, I wasn't involved! No! No! Father, please!" "I think, Harry, it is time to return to my office," said a quiet voice in Harry's ear. Harry started. He looked around. Then he looked on his other side. There was an Albus Dumbledore sitting on his right, watching Crouch's son being dragged away by the Dementors, and there was an Albus Dumbledore on his left, looking right at him. "Come," said the Dumbledore on his left, and he put his hand under Harry's elbow. Harry felt himself rising into the air, the dungeon dissolving around him. For a moment, all was blackness. And then he felt as though he had done a slow-motion somersault, suddenly landing flat on his feet, in what seemed like the dazzling light of Dumbledore's sunlit office. The stone basin was shimmering in the cabinet in front of him, and Dumbledore was standing beside him. "Professor," Harry gasped, "I know I shouldn't have. I didn't mean... The cabinet door was sort of open, and—" "I quite understand," said Dumbledore. He lifted the basin, carrying it over to his desk, placed it upon the polished top, and sat down in the chair behind it. He motioned for Harry to sit down opposite him. Harry did so, staring at the stone basin. The contents had returned to their original silvery white state, swirling and rippling beneath his gaze. "What is it?" Harry asked shakily. "This? It is called a Pensieve," said Dumbledore. "I sometimes find, and I am sure you know the feeling, that I simply have too many thoughts and memories crammed into my mind." Said Harry, who couldn't truthfully say that he had ever felt anything of the sort. "At these times," said Dumbledore, indicating the stone basin, "I use the Pensieve. One simply siphons the excess thoughts from one's mind, pours them into the basin, and examines them at one's leisure. It becomes easier to spot patterns and links, you understand, when they are in this form." "You mean that stuffs your thoughts?" Harry said, staring at the swirling white substance in the basin. "Certainly," said Dumbledore. "Let me show you." Dumbledore drew his wand out of the inside of his robes and placed the tip into his own silvery hair near his temple. When he took the wand away, hair seemed to be clinging to it. But then... Harry saw that it was in fact a glistening strand of the same strange silvery white substance that filled the Pensieve. Dumbledore added this fresh thought to the basin, and Harry, astonished, saw his own face swimming around the surface of the bowl. Dumbledore placed his long hands on either side of the Pensieve and swirled it, rather as a gold prospector would pan for fragments of gold, and Harry saw his own face change smoothly into Snape's, who opened his mouth and spoke to the ceiling, his voice echoing slightly. Coming back. Cockruff's too. Stronger and clearer than ever. A connection I could have made without assistance. Dumbledore sighed, but never mind. He peered over the top of his half-moon spectacles at Harry, who was gaping at Snape's face, which was continuing to swirl around the bowl. I was using the Pensieve when Mr. Fudge arrived for our meeting and put it away rather hastily. Undoubtedly I did not fasten the cabinet door properly. Naturally, it would have attracted your attention. I'm sorry, Harry mumbled. Dumbledore shook his head. Curiosity is not a sin, he said, but we should exercise caution with our curiosity. Yes, indeed. Frowning slightly, he prodded the thoughts within the basin with the tip of his wand. Instantly a figure rose out of it, a plump, scowling girl of about 16, who began to revolve slowly, with her feet still in the basin. She took no notice whatsoever of Harry or Professor Dumbledore. When she spoke, her voice echoed as Snape's had done, as though it was coming from the depths of the stone basin. You put a hex on me, Professor Dumbledore, and I was only teasing him, sir. I only said I'd seen him kissing Florence behind the greenhouses last Thursday. But why, Bertha? Said Dumbledore sadly, looking up at the now silently revolving girl. Why did you have to follow him in the first place? Bertha? Harry whispered, looking up at her. Was that Bertha Jorkins? Yes, said Dumbledore, prodding the thoughts in the basin again. Bertha sank back into them, and they became silvery and opaque once more. That was Bertha as I remembered her at school. The silvery light from the Pensieve illuminated Dumbledore's face, and it struck Harry suddenly how very old he was looking. He knew, of course, that Dumbledore was getting on in years, but somehow he never really thought of Dumbledore as an old man. So, Harry, said Dumbledore quietly, before you got lost in my thoughts, you wanted to tell me something. Oh, yeah! The whole reason why we're here! Yes, said Harry. Professor, I was in divination just now, and, I fell asleep. He hesitated here, wondering if a reprimand was coming, but Dumbledore merely said, quite understandable. Continue. Well, I had a dream, said Harry. A dream about Lord Voldemort. He was torturing Wormtail. You know who Wormtail? I do know, said Dumbledore promptly. Please continue. Voldemort got a letter from an owl. He said something like, Wormtail's blunder has been repaired. He said someone was dead. Then he said Wormtail wouldn't be fed to the snake. There was a snake beside his chair. He said he'd be feeding me to it instead. Then he did the Cruciatus curse on Wormtail, and my scar hurt, Harry said. It woke me up. It hurt so badly. Dumbledore merely looked at him. That's all, said Harry. The end. I see, said Dumbledore quietly. I see. Now, has your Scott hurt at any other time this year, excepting the time it woke you up over the summer? No, How do you know it woke me up over the summer? Said Harry, astonished. Because Dumbledore knows everything. You are not Sirius's only correspondent, said Dumbledore. I have also been in contact with him ever since he left Hogwarts last year. It was I who suggested the Mountside Cave as the safest place for him to stay. Dumbledore got up and began walking up and down behind his desk. Every now and then, he placed his wand tip to his temple, removed another shining silvery thought, and added it to the Pensieve. The thoughts inside began to swirl so fast that Harry couldn't make out anything clearly. It was merely a blur of color. "Professor," he said quietly after a couple of minutes. Dumbledore stopped pacing and looked at Harry. "My apologies," he said quietly. He sat back down at his desk. Do you know why my scar's hurting me?" "Yes, he does. But he's not gonna tell you. He knows something very important, but he's gonna wait until the very last minute to tell you." Dumbledore looked very intently at Harry for a moment, and then said, "I have a theory, no more than that. It is my belief that your scar hurts both when Lord Voldemort is near you, and when he is feeling a particularly strong surge of hatred. But why? Why indeed?" "Because you and he are connected by the curse that failed," said Dumbledore. "That is no ordinary scar." "Yes, and?" "Yes, but he's being vaguer than he should be, and Harry doesn't know it." "So you think that dream, did it really happen?" "It is possible," said Dumbledore. "I would say probable. Harry, did you see Voldemort?" "No," said Harry, "just the back of his chair. But there wouldn't have been anything to see, would there? I mean, he hasn't got a body, has he? But then how could he have held the wand?" Harry said slowly. "How indeed," muttered Dumbledore. "How indeed." Neither Dumbledore nor Harry spoke for a while. Dumbledore was gazing across the room, and every now and then placing his wand tip to his temple and adding another shining silver thought to the seething mass within the Pensieve. "Professor," Harry said at last, "do you think he's getting stronger?" "Voldemort?" said Dumbledore, looking at Harry over the Pensieve. It was the characteristic piercing look Dumbledore had given him on other occasions, and always made Harry feel as though Dumbledore was seeing right through him in a way that even Moody's magical eye could not. "Once again, Harry, I can only give you my suspicions." Dumbledore sighed again, and he looked older and wearier than ever. "The years of Voldemort's ascent to power," he said, "were marked with disappearances. Bertha Jorkins has vanished without a trace in the place where Voldemort was certainly known to be lost. Mr. Crouch, too, has disappeared, within these very grounds. And there was a third disappearance, one which the Ministry, I regret to say, do not consider of any importance, for it concerns a Muggle. His name was Frank Bryce. He lived in a village where Voldemort's father grew up, and he has not been seen since last August. You see, I read the Muggle newspapers, unlike most of my Ministry friends." All the way back from the beginning of the book, which was forever ago. I think I talked about it earlier. Yes. In the episode, in the Storytime Saturday that's titled Dumbledore Said Calmly, I believe I explain it. I have a Harry Potter essay on my Patreon. Become a patron, and you can read it. But I analyze every Harry Potter movie and compare it to the book. And I talk about Goblet of Fire, and I talk about how a lot of people were upset that Dumbledore got so mad at Harry, and he did not speak calmly at all, although that's what he did in the book. I make some arguments about what Mike Newell was trying to do, why Dumbledore was more angry with Harry than he was in the book. Not to spoil it too much, but essentially, Dumbledore's having a rough time, and while in the book it's easy to see, I explain it more in the essay, but the book is going to do things differently than the movie is, because the movie needs to show things visually, whereas the book is going to do things literarily. So the book, we're able to see into Harry's mind because we're reading from Harry's perspective. And so Harry's able to see and make notes of Dumbledore's appearance, as in he looks older and wearier than ever. The movie can't really do that. But in the movie, the director still wanted to portray Dumbledore as being weary. The fact is, this is the one time Dumbledore doesn't know what's going on. He usually always knows what's going on. This is the one time he doesn't, and it's stressing him out. And that's why he looks so old and weary. But we can't do that in the movie very well, because what are you going to do? Make him look older? I mean, he already looks old. It's not going to have that much of an impact in the film. So how are we going to make Dumbledore appear stressed out because of the situation? Well, we're going to make him kind of have some outbursts in the movie. That's why they did what they did. And I explain it better, and I have more evidence of this in the essay if you'd like to read it on my Patreon, link in the description. Dumbledore looked very seriously at Harry. These disappearances seem to me to be linked. The Ministry disagrees, as you may have heard, while waiting outside my office. Harry nodded. Silence fell between them again, Dumbledore extracting thoughts every now and then. Harry felt as though he ought to go, but his curiosity held him in his chair. "Professor," he said again. "Yes, Harry," said Dumbledore. Could I ask you about that court thing I was in the Pensieve?" "You could," said Dumbledore heavily. "I attended it many times, but some trials come back to me more clearly than others, particularly now." You know the trial you found me in, the one with Crouch's son? Well, were they talking about Neville's parents?" Dumbledore gave Harry a very sharp look. Has Neville never told you why he had been brought up by his grandmother?" he said. Harry shook his head, wondering if he did so, how he could have failed to ask Neville this in almost 4 years of knowing him. "Yes, they were talking about Neville's parents," said Dumbledore. "His father, Frank, was an Auror, just like Professor Moody. He and his wife were tortured for information about Voldemort's whereabouts after he lost his powers, as you heard." "So they're dead," said Harry quietly. "No," said Dumbledore, his voice full of bitterness. Harry had never heard them before. "They were insane. They are insane. They are both in St. Mungo's hospital for magical maladies and injuries. I believe Neville visits them with his grandmother during the holidays. They do not recognize him." It is the saddest thing. It might be better off for them to be dead, honestly. As I say, there are worse things than death. Harry sat there, horror-struck. He had never known. Never in 4 years. Bothered to find out. "The Longbottoms were very popular," said Dumbledore. "The attacks on them came after Voldemort's fall from power, just when everyone thought they were safe. Those attacks caused a wave of fury such as I have never known. The Ministry was under great pressure to catch those who had done it. Unfortunately, the Longbottoms' evidence was, given the condition, none too reliable. Then Mr. Crouch's son might not have been involved," said Harry slowly. Dumbledore shook his head. "As to that, I have no idea." Harry sat in silence once more, watching the contents of the Pensieve swirl. There were 2 more questions he was burning to ask, but they concerned the guilt of living people. He said, "Mr. Bagman has never been accused of any dark activity since," said Dumbledore calmly, "which should tell you everything you need to know." "Right," said Harry hastily, staring at the contents of the Pensieve again, which was swirling more slowly now that Dumbledore had stopped adding thoughts. But the Pensieve seemed to be asking its questions for him. Snape's face was... Oh, Harry. Snape's face was swimming on the surface again. Dumbledore glanced down into it and then up at Harry. "No more has Professor Snape," he said. Harry looked into Dumbledore's light blue eyes, and the thing he really wanted to know spilled out of his mouth before he could stop it. "What made you think he'd really stop supporting Voldemort, Professor?" Again, Dumbledore could tell you, but you're not gonna know until the very last minute. Dumbledore held Harry's gaze for a few seconds and then said, "That, Harry, is a matter between Professor Snape and myself." The thing is, I'm pretty sure Dumbledore wants to tell Harry, but Dumbledore made Snape a promise that he wouldn't tell him. For obvious reasons. You don't tell a girl that you like her because it makes you look like an idiot. Harry knew that the interview was over. Dumbledore did not look angry, yet there was a finality in his tone that told Harry it was time to go. He stood up, and so did Dumbledore. I bet Dumbledore probably feels like Harry has a right to know. I kind of feel like he does, more or less. But, yeah. He made a promise. Harry, he said as Harry reached the door, please do not speak about Neville's parents to anybody else. He has the right to let people know when he is ready. Yes, Professor, said Harry, turning to go. And, Harry looked back. Dumbledore was standing over the Pensieve, his face lit from beneath by its silvery spots of light, looking older than ever. He stared at Harry for a moment, and then said, good luck with the third task. Which is gonna be the next chapter. Yes! Chapter 31, the third task. That'll be next week. Ooh, the beginning of the end. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I'm so excited. The end of this one is so action-packed. So good. And so bad, but so good. That will be for next time. Okay, so now it's time to write some fan fiction. We'll write some fan fiction for a little while. And then we'll have an intermission. And then we will play Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, okay. Writing fan fiction. Here we go. Okay, so where did we leave off? And did I write anything further since? I actually can't remember. Oh, I don't have my plan either. Actually, it might be in here. That would be useful to have up. I did a little pre-write for this one because I wasn't quite sure how the chapter was going to go. I think I'll move this over here. Don't want to spoil too much. I don't think I'm going to do that bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, he needs to, actually. Okay. Where am I gonna stick that? I guess I gotta stick that bit. I want to put in a bit where Harry stops, like, Crabbe or Goyle or somebody from bullying a fellow student. And Draco's gonna be like, he needs to stop doing that. That's not very like me. Because he's gonna talk to Harry about it later. Oh, they're gonna be late if they do that. Well, we'll work it out, I guess. Okay, so where did we leave off last time? How about I just read to you what we've got, and we'll jump in from there. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with what this is my Harry Potter fanfiction. It is a classic swap bodies story where Harry and Draco swap places. And we're on chapter 4. It's called In Your Shoes, and they've already done the swap. They've already kind of experienced their first classes as each other, and now things are already starting to get crazy. If you would like to read the previous chapters, they're all on my Patreon, link in the description, and it is entirely free for everyone. You do not have to be a patron to read them. So here's In Your Shoes, Chapter 4, the rough draft of what we got so far. Something was a little off as Draco entered the great hall. It felt as if all eyes were on him. All eyes were on him. Whispers smattered around the hall as he made his way to the Gryffindor table. He listened closely to what the buzz was all about. Did you hear about Potter? Romilda Vane said they were dating. What? She said they were having lunch together. She made that up. Here he is. I guess we'll see. Oh, they were talking about Potter. No. They were talking about him. Draco grinned. He had never been a source of rumors for something good before. He looked down the table for Romilda when he spotted her. He started to move in her direction when Ron and Hermione stopped him. Let's sit here, Harry, Hermione encouraged where they were. No, he answered. You sit here. I'm meeting with someone else. He didn't bother to explain further. He left them staring in shock as he took his seat several places down next to Romilda. She smiled enthusiastically. A part of me was afraid you wouldn't show, she said through luscious red lips. And stand you up? Never. They proceeded to eat their meal. They spoke to each other in between bites. You are spreading naughty rumors, Miss Vane. Draco began the conversation. Does she know? Yeah. They just said it earlier. Never mind. What do you mean? She smiled guiltily. I heard we are dating now. I don't remember agreeing to that. Draco said this with a smirk on his face. I never said that, she answered. I might have told my friends we were going on a date. They can draw whatever conclusion they like from that. Draco wasn't complaining. They discussed many things. Romilda was reasonably chatty. Draco didn't have to say much. Draco was amazed at how much they had in common. She was very Slytherin for a Gryffindor. I almost wish I could go to a different magical school, like Beauxbatons. I feel like they just let anyone in here. Draco nodded. I wanted to go to Durmstrang, but my mother didn't want me to go to school too far away. Romilda frowned. Your mother? But isn't she dead? Draco froze. He had forgotten that he was supposed to be Harry. Yeah, I meant my mother's spirit. I don't want to be too far away from where she died. Romilda's brow did not furrow, but they continued with the discussion anyway. Draco mentally kicked himself. That was a stupid thing to say. He didn't care what others thought about him. But Romilda? He cared a great deal. He needed to pay more attention to the things he said. Oh, that's where I was going to stick it. Draco wondered briefly how Harry was faring as himself and took a glance at the Slytherin table. So this is the part where I'll be like, Harry, I don't know. Maybe there's a Hufflepuff walking by, and I don't know. Maybe Crabbe or Goyle's flicking food at him or something. No, and Harry's like, stop. What are you doing that for? And Draco's like, what is he doing? That's actually not a bad idea. Actually. Yeah, and then the next part, like, I don't necessarily write completely linearly. Well, that scene will go there, and then this will happen. On the whole, however, Draco was enjoying himself. Romilda was not only pretty, but she was funny, too, and fun to be around. He was not expecting that. I can't believe this is happening, Romilda said breathlessly after laughing at one of Draco's jokes. Having lunch with Harry Potter. It's all I've been dreaming about all year. Draco suddenly felt a pang in his chest. His joy faltered. She wanted to have lunch with Harry, not himself. He shook it off. What did it matter? This was just for fun anyway, not long term. Before he wanted it to, lunch ended. Students began to get up to go to afternoon classes. Okay, so that part is not going to happen because I need to interject. Oh, actually, no. We could have that happen, and then he's going to bump into Ginny, and Ginny's going to be like, why are you with Romilda? What is all this I'm hearing, about you dating Romilda? And Draco's gonna kind of sort of not really acknowledge her and just be like, I don't know, just rumors. And then just kind of brush her off. Or, I don't know, is that too... That's too far. That's too far. I don't want things to get too... Yeah, I don't want things to get too bad for her. Things are getting crazy, like, right away. And let's take it slow. And then Harry needs to hear the rumor, and Harry needs to be like, I need to talk to Draco, because this can't happen. Yeah. And they'll have a conversation. We'll get there. One step at a time. Feel free to give me suggestions in the chat or in the comment section. And back to our Harry Potter music, our Harry Potter remixes. Although this one might... Is this one the weird one that I always skip? It might be. Because you know how YouTube does that thing where you pause the video and then you close out or you go to a different video, and usually YouTube saves your place, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it saves it at a different point, and it's like, I wasn't there. I was further along in the video. But it might be worth listening to anyway. I was listening to a really good one last time. So, this is the 8-bit remix. Also, my music was too loud last stream, so I'm gonna fix that for the stream. We're gonna turn the music down a little bit there. Okay. And if you would like access to this, if you would like this playlist, it's on YouTube. I listed it, and I put a link to it in the description. So you can write your own fanfiction to this music. I highly recommend. Okay, so. Okay, Draco wondered briefly how Harry was faring as himself and took a glance at the Slytherin table. Okay. I need to sneeze. Bless me. Okay, so... Okay, so in the previous chapter, which one was the one that Harry was paired up with? Was it Crabbe or Goyle? I think it was Crabbe. I believe it was Crabbe. So, it's not going to be Crabbe doing this, it's going to be Goyle. Because Crabbe is starting to, like, he's going through something. Because of the way Harry treated him as Draco. And he's like, I'm a human being with worth? Like, he's going through something. I'm trying to think of who... I'm trying to think of where the tables are in the Great Hall. We know that Slytherin is all the way on the left. And Gryffindor is second from the right. Who's in between Gryffindor and Slytherin? Is it Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff? I don't actually know. Let me see if I can look it up. House... Here, Hogwarts... House... Table... Layout? Table order? Is that something we know? I mean, obviously, since I'm looking. When Harry stands in front of the high table facing the students, he sees the Hufflepuff table on the right, Ravenclaw is second from the left, and Gryffindor on the far left. Oh, so I'm wrong. I was thinking about the movie. Oh, this is the weird one. This is the weird one. This one's weird. I'm not a fan. This one. Yeah. Apparently they changed places by 1994. Okay. That makes the order in 1991, starting from the doors. Hufflepuff, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor. That doesn't help me at all. Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and then Gryffindor. Left to right from the teacher's table. Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, then Gryffindor. With Gryffindor being the furthest from the doors. That implies that the tables are going in a different direction. This isn't helpful at all. You know what? Doesn't matter. We are going to... Because for all we know, he could be just flinging his food extra far, and it could be, you know, a table further away. It doesn't have to be the table right next to the Slytherin table, is what I'm trying to say.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, my jam! Do 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 do. Alright. Okay, so so what I want to do now is I want to do dice roller. This isn't what I want at all. Get out of my face. I don't want this either. Google search. Because I don't know if it should be Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. If I had people in the chat, I would ask the chat if it should be Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. But since I don't, we're gonna randomly determine. So, alright, so Hufflepuff will be odd, Ravenclaw will be even. And I just rolled a 5, so Hufflepuff. He's gonna be flinging it at a Hufflepuff. How about that? Okay. Draco chuckled to himself as he watched Goyle fling chips at a first-year Hufflepuff. However, Draco's amusement swiftly ended as he watched himself scold Goyle for doing so. You know what? I don't know if Harry would necessarily do that. He might do that if... Harry might do that if... different plan. Instead of flinging it at a random Hufflepuff, my favorite part of the song. It's so good. Draco chuckled to himself as he watched Goyle fling chips at Neville? Ron? We'll say Neville. Neville Longbottom. We'll say impressively, because the Slytherins and the Gryffindors, the tables are never close together, no matter where they are. So, from across the room. Harry's more likely to stop that. Like, Harry might not necessarily care if he's flinging french fries at a random Hufflepuff, but Harry would definitely be like, what are you doing? You know, that's Neville. That's not cool. Leave him alone. You know? Should we note that Draco was not happy about that? That wasn't very Draco-like. Draco didn't like that at all. I don't know. Draco wondered briefly how Harry was faring as himself and took a glance at the Slytherin table. Draco chuckled to himself as he watched Goyle impressively fling chips at Neville Longbottom from across the room. However, Draco's amusement swiftly ended as he watched himself scold Goyle for doing so. That wasn't very Draco-like. Draco didn't like that at all. Yeah. I'm not very pleased with that. That'll work for now. Do you think we could just jump right into the next sentence? On the whole, however, Draco was enjoying himself. I think that works. I think that's good. I think that's good going. I know that we weren't writing for very long, but it is time for us to have an intermission so that we can come back and play some Hogwarts Legacy. So, I will take my 15-minute intermission. But I hope that you're enjoying the stream. If you are, please click the like button. Feel free to talk in the chat or in the comment section down below. Become a subscriber if you're not subscribed already. Turn on notifications so you can be notified the next time I go live. I will be going live next week. If you want to know when, follow me on Twitter. Link in the description. Also in the description is my Patreon if you'd like to support me as a content creator. Or if you'd like to read my short stories and my fan fiction like this, which is free. And I also have a TikTok and an Instagram linked in the description. And I'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay. All right. Come on. Oh, I probably have to click back in there. Yes. look at our little room here. Guess who updated their graphics drivers? I did. I was finally able to do it. My brother, who is a tech wizard, I told my brother the problem I was having, and he suggested that I download the AMD auto detect. They have software that can auto detect what graphics drivers you need to update, and it will automatically do it for you. So I did that. And the same problem happened. I completely updated everything, and then my colors were weird on the monitor. And I was like, what is even happening? But with the AMD auto detector tool that I downloaded, it also had like a dashboard for like settings for your monitor. And I looked under the monitor part, and it said that the colors were on temperature, like automatically by default. And I was like, why? I disabled it, and my colors went back to normal. And I was like, really? That's all I had to do? So I did it. So my graphics drivers are completely updated. So we shouldn't have weird water effects. Though we will miss them, I'm sure. Also, look what I can do. Whoa, I can pull my controller all the way over here and it remains plugged in. That's because I finally bought a new cord for my controller, one that's 6 feet instead of 3 feet, so that every time I get excited, it's just unplug. So yay, we're really... Oh, I forgot how changed my clothes are. Cool. Anyway. So yay, we're moving on up in the world. Exciting stuff. Let's play. So before we continue on in what we were doing, I need to go to Hogsmeade and sell my gear. That's what I need to do. It's the first thing I'm gonna do, so that I can free up some space in my inventory and I can get some money for stuff that I'm definitely not ever gonna use. Since I updated my graphics driver, the game started really fast. I just double clicked on it, went to the bathroom, came back, boom, it was up. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, still loading in. It's still on the lowest settings possible, so it's still not the best it could be. But it shouldn't be like super wonky like it was. Okay, so we're gonna go to Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade. Have fun at Hogsmeade.
Oh, I was like, I see something.
Yes.
More of these.
Yes.
Alright, so we're gonna head back up to Hogsmeade because I want to sell my gear.
This could prove dangerous if I'm not careful.
What do you mean? What? Why? Why'd she say it like that? Why did she... Okay. So, wait, where am I going?
Hi. I like your goats and your chickens.
I'm trying to get back up to Hogsmeade. Actually, let's activate that on the map. Should we look at our stuff first? No. We'll go sell our gear, and then we'll look at our stuff. Okay, so we want the Hogsmeade map, and we want to go to Madame Snelling's Tress Emporium. Oh, yeah, we do. Not yet, but we do eventually. Should we? No, I like my hair. I like my hair the way it is. we want to go to... What was that? I thought I saw something over here. Oh, Zonko's joke shop. That's probably what I saw. Pippins, potions. Yeah, I'm seeing fireworks there.
The magic neep.
Hogshead, no, I want to go to... That's Ollivanders. Where do I want to go? Honeyduke's tea shop. Ah, this is where we want to go. I want to sell my clothing, so we want to go to the clothing store. That's what I wanted.
Here we go.
And I know I could probably just take the flu powder, but I don't. The flu flame, whatever. But I really like walking through the grounds. I really like going around the place. I don't. Ooh, pretty. They're little trumpets. Oh, that's so cute. They're adorable. I feel like I'm in Alice in Wonderland or something. See, like, if I had just poofed to that location, I wouldn't have seen that, you know? I love walking around and exploring, and it might be, like, really boring to watch. Sorry, not sorry. This is fun. This is fun for me. I don't care if it's fun for you. Oh wait, I already got these. That's why they look like that, because I already got them. And I'm assuming I already got that. Yeah. I sure did. You know, that symbol for Gladrag's wizard wear, it's clearly a hat. I thought it was a teacup for some reason. It kind of, like, if you don't know it's a hat, it kind of looks like a teacup on a saucer. Like, not very well, but it kind of looks like that. It's not a very good drawing of a teacup on a saucer, but it kind of looks like that if you don't realize it's a hat. And that's what made me think, what was that? That's what made me think, why is it a teacup? And then I realized, oh, it's not a teacup. I'm just an idiot. I'm just a dumb. I'm hearing sounds, and I don't know what the sounds are. They did such a good job with the details of this place. Feels very authentic.
Ooh, what's he got?
She. He, she, he. What? I'm confused. What is that flying above their head? I'm confused. Oh! They're books. Oh, I thought it was like one of those pages. That's why I did that. See those red triangles in the bottom left? What are those? They look scary. They look like they could be potentially enemies. Oh, they swing flies. I said it the way Snape says it.
'cause I'm a super nerd.
What's this over here? Nothing. Why did I think that was something? Because you never know in this game. See, you don't even need that fence. Oh, I did that. I did that last night. I remember. Last night in the game. Last week in real life. Man, there's so much. Well, something was flying. Oh, I thought it was something more magical than a bird. There's a lot of those trumpet tulips. Trumplips. I don't know what they are. I have no idea. I've never heard of such a thing in the Harry Potter universe. I don't doubt that there could be. This music is lovely.
A castle. Must have been quite stately in its time.
This? Okay. Sure. Unless you mean something over here. This castle? Must have been quite stately in its time. Not anymore, though. Now it's a dump. This makes me want to watch Harry Potter. You know, I only allow myself to watch Harry Potter once a year. Because... Not because, I'm going the wrong way, I just realized. I wonder how long I've been going the wrong way for. Where am... Oh, no, I'm not. I know. It's the road curves and the directions go weird when that happens. Anyway. Not necessarily because it would be, I don't know, wrong or whatever. Just because I realized that when I watched them too much, like, they just became nothing. Like, it's to the point where I didn't really watch them anymore. I couldn't watch them anymore because I was so used to watching them. They became boring, you know, because I watched them so much. But now that I only watch those movies once a year, they became special again. You know what that's like. You know, like, when you hear the same song on the radio over and over and over. Like, even if, well, that's not really a good example for me, because when I like a song, I never get tired of it. Never. But the Harry Potter movies, like, I did get to a point where I watched it so much that I didn't want to watch it anymore, because I couldn't watch it anymore. It became... What's a good word? It became... mundane? It became... I don't know.
Revelio.
Hogsmeade Guide Pages. The only all-wizarding village in Britain, Hogsmeade has been a favorite haunt of Hogwarts students 3rd years and up for centuries. Yeah. It just, the movies stopped being fun. They stopped being special. So now that I watch them every, once a year, now I can actually, like, enjoy them again. And, so yeah, that's why I do it now. And so in 2 weeks, I get to watch the movies.
It's very exciting.
Alright. My computer's struggling to load in all these NPCs. Tales of Beedle the Bard are a bit too Harry Hart for me. That is my favorite Beetle the Bard story, is the Hairy Heart. I'm a big fan of horror, and that story comes pretty close to horror. So I enjoy it. It is my favorite Bard tale. Oh, here we are. Hello.
Come in. Let me know if you need help finding anything. Plenty for your perusal today. Take your time.
Look at these masks. I'm not selling that. I'm not selling that. I don't want to sell anything that's better than what I already have, which I will equip. Oh, maybe I should equip first. Oh, wait. These are stuff to buy. I want to sell. Yeah. I can't sell it. There's no value to it anyway. I was like, I can't sell my original school uniform. That would be sacrilege. Prefect vest uniform. Cannot upgrade. Yeah, we'll sell it.
If I haven't said it before, it's a pleasure doing business with you.
Gonna sell the Jacksepticeye hat. This item has no magical properties. Well then, I have no interest in it. Am I already... Oh, I don't want to sell stuff I'm already wearing. It's not... It wouldn't be on here, would it, if I'm already wearing it? Right? I'm assuming. And you can upgrade stuff too. So even though it says that the defense is less than what I currently have, I could upgrade it. If you really like an outfit and you want it to function better, you can. I'm pretty happy with the outfit I have. I'm really into this outfit that I have. I feel very epic. So I think it'll be okay if I just...
Plenty for your perusal today. Take your time.
If I just sell what I have here that I don't want. I imagine you could buy it again too if you made a mistake and you'd be like, oh no, I want to buy it. You could probably buy it back. Yeah, I don't... Spectacles don't mean anything to me. Wait. Traditional school robe. Isn't that the same thing? I'm confused. I don't know. Why is that grayed out? Is it already equipped? Maybe I can't use it yet? I don't know. I don't know why that's grayed out. That's weird. Sleek sorcerer hat. Ooh, pointy hat. These are all the things I can sell. What do I want anything? This mask is kind of cool. I don't think I actually want it though. I don't know if there's anything I actually want, you know?
I'd say that looks as if it was made for you.
That's kind of cool. Compare. Oh, you can compare.
I'd say that looks as if it was made for you.
Death Eater in training. No. Nothing is equipped. Oh, no, that's not
I'd say that looks as if it was made for you.
Well, that's kind of nice. I don't think I need it, though. And you can't see it because the robe I'm wearing over top of it.
Ooh, let's look at the hat.
I'd say that looks as if it was made
Stunning! No. No hits. kind of like this. And I can't see it because I'm wearing a robe right now.
I'd say that looks as if it was made for you.
Gross. Okay. Alright, let's...
I suspect you have a sharp eye for fashion. Be sure to stop by whenever you're about.
Alright, so now that I've done that, let me equip everything that I should equip. Okay. I like the wand handle I have, so I'm gonna keep it. It's exactly my style. Okay. These ones are actually much better, but I actually like the look of the ones I have better. Let me compare. We don't want to compare. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is I just want to look at it. I want to see what it looks like. Yeah, I prefer this one. Oh, but I would have to upgrade it. How do I do that? Because what I could do, what I would do is I need to equip this and then hide it so that I don't actually see it. But the thing is, I really like the look of these, but they're not as good as these. How do I upgrade stuff? It might be something where I have to... I don't know. How do I upgrade stuff in this game? Let me look it up. Whoops. Dropping stuff. How to upgrade gear, Hogwarts Legacy. The enchanted loom. Okay, so you need the enchanted loom. That's what it is. Okay. That is something we don't have yet. It is something we will get. Okay. Alright. So for now, I will equip that, but I always forget how to do it. I want to hide it, though. Oh, change appearance. That's it. Oh, wait! You can make it look like any... Oh, wait, no, you can't. No, you can't. You can... Oh, there might actually be other appearances. The thing is, I want it to look like this one. Here, change appearance. No, I want it to look like the one I had. Is it still the one I've equipped? Yes, it is. Okay. Okay, I didn't know you could do that. That works too. Okay. So, is there any... No. I don't have any headwear. Let's see. Oh, it's locked. I have to be of a higher wizarding level to wear this one. 15, 12. So we could equip this one and change the appearance of it to no hat. So I still get the benefit of it, but you can't see it because it's purely cosmetic. Okay. I like the robe, though. I like the robe. This is the outfit I'm currently wearing. I don't like either of these, but we can equip and change the appearance. And change the appearance to... Ooh, what's this? Well, that one's nice. Well, that's a good color. We could do that one, which I really like. go with the purple. And that's the one I just did. Okay. So we're all set on gear. Let me look in my inventory. Our Pensieve study guide page. Oh, is that map with floating candles? A hidden treasure map. What? Oh, that's right. That's a different quest that we'll do later. Award for excellence. Oh, right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right, I remember. And those are my plants. Okay. Alright. Collections. This one's the new one. Field guide pages. And that's the Hogsmeade one. Challenges. Okay. We're doing really good. Map. I don't want the map. Quests. The Jackdaw Rest we can't do until we get the Expelliarmus spell. That one is something you do as you go. So this one's the one we're going to do next. Venomous Valor. I should search the grounds around the herbology wing for the entrance to the hidden herbology corridor. Oh yeah! Tell Professor Fig about the map chamber. Oh. Follow your lead to the book's missing pages. Find the book's missing pages. Oh, that's the main story quest, isn't it? That's different. Isn't it? Isn't that what that is? Oh yeah, that's Jackdaw's Rest is what we need to do next. Gotcha. Okay. So this is the quest we're doing next. So we're gonna equip that one. Do we have any more owl posts? No, none of that's new. And settings, we don't need settings. Okay. So let's get back into the game. Thank you very much. Ooh, kitty. Oh, it's raining now. Meow. Alright, so now we're headed to herbology. Herbology. Why is that? That cow needs to stop watering those plants. It's raining. What the? Why is that? Why is... What?
Revelio.
What is that? Huh? What is that? What is that? I don't know what this is. I'm doing something with it. That's weird. What? And now it's gone. I don't know. That was weird. I don't know. Do these repopulate? Do these respawn? Or whatever you want to call it? Because I feel like I've gotten those already. Or should have gotten those already. I've definitely been down this way before. Not that I'm complaining. Is the day ending already? That was fast. The music really does sound like Harry Potter without it being Harry Potter. It's kind of weird. I'm expecting to hear
These rocks have seen better
Nicholas
days.
Hooper, because this song sounds a lot like The Room of Requirement. The song called The Room of Requirement by Nicholas Hooper, who was the composer for the music in Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince. He's in fact my favorite composer of all the Harry Potter composers. I know John Williams is a fan favorite. I know he's the OG, but Nicholas Hooper, he's got a way of making just a beautiful soundtrack also sound whimsical. And just he's got a wide range. He's got a wider range than John Williams does, in my opinion. Not that John Williams isn't any good. He definitely is. I love all the Harry Potter composers. It's just Nicholas Hooper is my personal favorite. See, now this sounds more like Alexander Desplat. Desplat. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. I know that his name is French, so you don't pronounce the T at the end, because there's no E after it. Maybe I should look it up. Alexander did the music for the last two Harry Potter movies, Deathly Hallows Parts 1 and 2. Which is interesting, because Nicholas Hooper, while he's my favorite composer, Alexander Desplat made my favorite song, my favorite Harry Potter song,
Adventure, are we?
which is The Locket from Deathly Hallows Part 1. Nicholas Hooper made a beautiful Harry and Ginny score, though. Their theme is really beautiful. It's definitely at the top of my favorite soundtracks. My favorite tracks from the soundtrack. Whoa, that's so cool. Neat! Alright. Okay. So, it's not gonna give us the exact location. But should we go... Oh, we got some beehives here. Not beehives. Glumbumbles. Right! Glumbumbles are magical flying insects that produce a treacle which will cause melancholy if consumed. They feed on nettles and nest in dark and secluded places. Unfortunately, they are known to infest beehives, having a devastating effect on the honey they're in. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Why do we have them? What are they good for? What potions does their treacle produce? Or, I don't know, require ingredients for? Okay, so that purple section, I assume... Yeah. Okay. So I assume that purple section... Oh.
These dry vines are one spark away from becoming kindling.
Wow. I said that very weirdly. Use. What do I use on it? Oh, look. We've got the zodiac here. Oh, we probably need a telescope there. What vines are you talking about?
Incendio!
No. I don't know what vine she's talking about. I think that's a different quest, though. I don't think that's... Or does she mean these? Oh. Here. Wow, that wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard to find this place at all. Cool.
This must be the entrance to the hidden herbology corridor.
Whoa. Obtain proof for Duncan.
Incendio!
This is so cool.
Devil's Snare seems to thrive in darkness. Perhaps it doesn't care for light.
It doesn't. Devil snare, devil snare. Oh.
Lumos.
Fire was my first thought, because that's what they do in the movies, but Lumos would work just as well. Devil snare is deadly fun, but will sulk in the sun. This is so stinking cool. What do I do with that? I don't know.
Leviosa.
No? Depulso! Maybe I needed... Huh. Oh, maybe I just destroy it. Or we do that. Whatcha? Whatcha? Oh. What? Something's hurting me.
Lumos.
Oh, I walked into the... That's what it was. Oh, you know what?
Incendio. Seems the Devil's Snare was protecting a chest of some kind.
What?
Lumos.
Why? Huh. It won't let me...
Incendio.
It won't let me for some reason. Oh, we're swimming. There we go. You had to hit him twice. That's the wrong one. Okay, I gotta be closer. But, yeah, I was about to say, that's not a thing. Cool.
I imagine a piece of that enormous venomous tentacula would be enough for Duncan to prove his bravery.
Yes, venomous tentacula. Yeah, I'm gonna back up just a little bit.
Incendio.
All right. So cool. I love this.
Incendio.
Nice. Oh, we connected. Cool. I like that. That wasn't too hard. It was a little spooky. Yeah. Apparently venomous tentacula is something I can collect now. I gotta return to Duncan. How am I doing that? Do I go through this door? Yes. Oh, no, another way. Oh, here.
Have you found anything to, prove my bravery yet?
Yes, I have. I don't approve
Hello,
of this
Duncan. I
line,
have the
but
proof you wanted.
That's one leaf. Must have been a giant venomous tentacula. It's even more than I expected. I knew you were the one to ask. I appreciate you getting it for me.
Of course. I hope this helps you prove yourself.
This is sure to put an end to Puffskein Dunking for good when I show everyone in the common room tonight. This'll show Everett how ridiculous that nickname was. Thank you again, and have a good day. I know I will. Thank you for all of your help. No more Puffskein Dunking for me.
yay! Oh, not quite. Almost to 12. Okay. Alright, so what's the next quest? Flying off the shelves. Cressida's books, oh right, including her diary, are flying around the library. I need to collect all 5 of them for her. Okay. Alright. To the library.
I'm going to have to use Accio to get to those books. Got it. Only 4 more to go.
Will I get in trouble for being here at night? Probably not. It was the restricted section that was the issue. Oh. I saw another one up there. Oh man, this is so cool. This library looks really cool. 2 more? Alright, one more. Okay. What? It says 4 out of 5. There's one more?
Lumos.
There we go. How do you do this again? I forget what this was. Oh, do I bring it? Oh, I bring it back. That's right. This was a task from a few episodes ago. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Cool. I love that. Okay, so I gotta find that last book. Or is the last book her diary? Huh. Collect Cressida's flying books from the library. 4 out of 5. Oh.
That's the last book. Now to take them back to Cressida.
Well, you reading your diary? I guess so. Today was a good day, that is, until Gareth splashed whatever ridiculous concoction he was creating all over my perfectly stewed lacewing flies. Had to empty my entire cauldron and start all over again. He is such a menace, thinks he knows everything there is to know about potions, always disrupting Professor Sharp's class with his experiments. I'm utterly convinced that if he wasn't Professor Weasley's nephew, he would have been expelled by now. You guys are one and the same. He's creating potions, you're creating spells. Broeth? Smokies again tonight for dinner. I'm becoming more partial to them now, although I still prefer meat pie. Meat pie is pretty good. I haven't had meat pie in forever. Alright. Cool. Let's go talk to Cressida.
Any luck finding my diary?
Hello, Cressida. I collected your books, including your diary.
Oh, what a relief. Thank you. I'll happily take the heavy lot off your hands now.
Perhaps reward to keep the diary a secret. No, I'm not doing
Here
that.
you are.
I'm not a
lesson
Slytherin.
learned. I certainly won't be practicing any charms in the library again anytime soon. Now, to work out where I went wrong. Perhaps I should start brushing up on my Latin. Thank goodness some people are trustworthy.
Of course.
Certainly wouldn't want anyone but me reading my diary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright, that quest is done. Ghost of Our Love. This one sounds interesting. The map portrays a forest, bridge, and candles. I've put it into my bag for reference. Use the map of floating candles to find the treasure. Use the map of floating candles to find the treasure. Yeah, see, it's not going to show me how to get there because I have to actually solve it myself. Okay. Alright, let me look at that then. It's the love letter. That's not helpful. I need... Where is the map? Oh, here it is. Okay. There's a bridge and floating candles. Yeah. How do I get back to that area? How do I get back to the graveyard? Library Annex. Bell Tower Wing. The South Wing. I don't think I want any of those. That's the Library Annex. Oh, right. The Anthem, yeah. Greenhouses. I honestly wouldn't know where the graveyard would be. Where was it? Oh, yeah. I don't know. What if we kind of just tried to find it ourselves? Also, there's still this. I remember I saw one of these when I was with Nick. Is the cemetery a place you can get to on your own, or is that more like a cutscene kind of thing? I don't know. I gotta figure out how, because I don't know my way around this place at all. I have no idea. I don't know. I just might end up completely lost. Okay. What?
Revelio.
Fills our stone hearts with joy to be in the presence of such arrogance.
I honestly don't know. What if... Oh. I don't know. I'm just gonna go here and see what we can find. We want to find a bridge with floating candles, I'm guessing. I don't know if it's actually by the cemetery or not. You okay? Okay, so this is to Hogsmeade. Which isn't really what I wanted. But I'm not entirely sure what I want, you know? Let me go back inside. Oh, where does this go? Or is it just the Quidditch pitch? Because I can't actually go there yet, I don't think. And if I could, that's not really where I need to be anyway. I don't know what they're doing here, but... yeah. That's not what I want. What about this way? Huh. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going, if I'm even going anywhere. I have no sweet clue. Use the map with floating candles to find the treasure. Does that mean... hold on. Let me look at it again. Use the map with floating candles. Do I actually need to find floating candles and use it with the map?
Protego!
Oh, that's not what I wanted to say.
Lumos.
Wait. Hold on. What is that? Why am I seeing that icon all of a sudden? I don't know. I don't know why that icon is on the screen all of a sudden. I casted Lumos because that's what it looks like the map wants you to do. That's what it looks like. It looks like, you see down below in the right, the top diamond, it looks like the Lumo, that's the Lumo spell, and it looks like that on the map. And so I was like, oh.
That hadn't cancelled if we wouldn't be looking for the blasted thing in the
Come on,
first place.
where are you? Rebellious. much better.
Oh, shut up! Wait! Accio!
I don't know what I'm doing.
He's ruined my entire school year. I hope Puffskein goes up his nose and snatches his brain.
Oh.
Always a little beast.
What? Now the icon is gone. I'm confused. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Look. Not you. Look, see, that looks like... Maybe I need to use Lumos around floating candles? But where have we seen floating candles? I don't know. I'm thoroughly lost. I don't know. Let me
Lumos.
see if that did anything. To reset it? Nope. I don't know. Maybe it has to be done at night? I don't know. It looks like it's a bridge on the way to Hogsmeade. That's what it looks like. This is a bridge on the way to Hogsmeade.
Lumos.
I don't see any floating candles, though. Use the map with floating candles to find the treasure. Oh, that's the name of the map. Use the map with floating candles. That's the name of the map. Map with floating candles. It's just use the map. So I don't actually have to use the map with floating candles. It looks like it's on a bridge on the way to like a fork in the road with signs on it. What if it's that bridge over there? I doubt it, but maybe. Or this bridge. No. We're supposed to use Lumos. And I know this because... Oh, see, what if it's here? Because the map... Let's see. I wish it would just... See, because it looks like that. Because it looks like the archway with the two signs and the stone.
Lumos.
It says I'm supposed to use Lumos. According to the sign. This is the bridge, though. I don't know. Caution, centaurs, frog sold here. This is the Forbidden Forest. Where are we trying to get to? See, we went over the bridge. We made it here. I don't know. Follow the... I don't know. This is the Forbidden Forest. Oh. We got enemies here. I'm running. Bye. I don't wanna. Bye. I don't know. What is it about Lumos?
Lumos.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Floating candles. I don't know. Man. I feel like I found the spot, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I mean, there's clearly, like, that's the picture of Lumos. But I don't see any floating candles. It's pointing to the floating candles. I don't see any floating candles. Maybe I have to cast Lumos right on the bridge? The thing is, the bridge doesn't even look like that. Oh, that bridge. That bridge is different. This bridge. It looks like this bridge, doesn't it?
Lumos.
What am I missing? Is there something I'm missing about this area?
Velia.
Releasing flies. I already got the releasing flies. See, it looks like that bridge, doesn't it? That's the bridge. Maybe I have to go at night because there's a moon here? Maybe it has to be at night. The map shows the end of the bridge here with floating candles. I don't see any floating candles. Oh. Maybe this is something we're supposed to... Oh, that's... Sorry. Wrong button.
Lumos.
Maybe it has to be at night. And the letter that came with it... I assume it came with it. I remember them going together. Where's the letter that went with it? The love letter. I know you enjoy a good Cornish pasty as much as you enjoy a good mystery. That doesn't help me at all. Maybe it has to be nighttime for this to happen. So maybe we're supposed to hang out until nighttime to do this. There is a moon on the map, so maybe it is supposed to be nighttime. Okay. Well, I hate to leave it at that, but we might have to wait till next time to do that, because I gotta go to bed. But that'd be really cool if I actually figured that out. I like that the puzzles, you're able to figure them out in this game pretty easily. But they still have a decent challenge to them too. It's quite nice. In short, I love this game. We'll save. Sure. Ghost of Our Love. That's exactly what we're doing. Oh, this game is really fun though. I am really enjoying it. It's great. It's everything I could want. Almost. I wish Harry was here. Harry would make this better. But otherwise, this is fantastic. But yeah. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I certainly did. If you haven't already, click the like button. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section telling me what you thought of the video. Become a subscriber if you're not subscribed already, and turn on notifications with the notification bell so you can be notified the next time I go live. I plan on going live next week. If you want to know when, you can follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Also in the description is my Patreon if you'd like to support me as a content creator, or if you would like to read my short stories. And if you do become a supporter, you get a shout out. So shout out to Kim Sickler, my current patron. Thank you so much for the support. And if you would like a shout out, join my Patreon, become a patron, link in the description. Also short stories in there, also free stuff. So if you're not a patron, you can still enjoy some of the stuff that's on there. And I also have a TikTok and an Instagram, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a magical evening. Bye-bye.